You're live. We did it. We did it.
And we gotta post it on Mastodon too.
Oh,
Yeah.
somebody do that. Hold on, let's see.
I'll do it.
I have a script. We'll see if it works.
Screw the script. Don't we have a kid that can do it for us? Let his daughter do
Oh
it for
shit,
us.
ATP's live too. Let's just
Yeah,
fuck the podcast. Let's just go join them.
Yeah, they keep messing with us. Well. Oh, I lost the notes. The HomeTech. Well, I added Home Assistant getting released.
Home Assistant. Oh, I can't. I got the Magic Cube coming in, so I can see how it works tying in
Is it the
Home Assistant to a
car
line.
one?
No. So some driver company has made a Home Assistant box that ties into like Elan or Control 4 and stuff like that.
Slide in the Home Assistant one where you want, Seth. I'll fill in the deets.
Fill it in.
Yeah. They had their release party today.
Just pop a card in for me there.
Where do you want me to pop it in?
I don't know. It's a new. I kind of talked about it last week, but you've been to put it in projects. It's your ongoing project of updates.
Project updates. All right, put it over there. Cool, done. Slid over.
Look at this. Watch. I even have a tag for you.
Tag.
Yeah. There we go.
Bam.
All right.
All
right.
Real.
We are good. All right. Did we we tooted? And we
No, I don't. Did you toot it?
I didn't toot it from the official account though.
Oh my god.
I'm not logged in.
I'll retweet it, boost it, blah blah blah. Hold on 1 second, because I can switch to the other account.
What?
Yep.
Wow. Look at you! Got all the power in the world.
Why are all my notifications all of a sudden coming through? Where's TJ?
He's right there.
Hi.
He's on our live stream.
Yeah. Did you know I'm part of the podcast, Gavin?
Oh, there it is.
Real,
the second most popular podcast is live. All right.
I just stole it from Seth. I just copy and paste
it to followers from us.
Someone's got. I hear voices somewhere.
What?
Is it me? What? Check 1 2. Is it me?
Hello. Can you hear me? Just
I
the
know.
tip.
Gavin, you don't have your speakers on, right, Gavin?
No, my speakers are off. Is it me though?
Wrap off.
Is it me? Is it me? Can you hear it now?
No, it's not your voice I hear. It's my voice and TJ's voice. Delayed.
Can you hear it now?
My voice. Yes. TJ's voice. TJ, say something.
Hi.
Yeah, I still hear it.
That's not me then, because I turned down my headphones.
Weird.
Try it now.
I told you as soon as you go live.
Metal building.
As soon as you go live, TJ starts acting up. I told you. It's pretty good over here.
My 5 megabits, my 5 kilobits a second.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the public Wi-Fi isn't bad, but there's no client isolation on it, so I can literally see everybody's devices that's connected to the network. So I'm not going to use that network.
Avoid that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I can pay for a premium model, but it's like $50 a month for like 50 megabits per second or something. And I still wouldn't get a hard wire.
It's probably not no client isolation.
Yeah, it's probably not. I thought about emailing them and be like, hey, is this like normal? Because it shouldn't be normal, just so you know. I should not see anybody's things.
Good old security. Hey, somebody.
It's Jimmy.
Jimmy.
We were talking about it, Jimmy. We're going down to minus 30 this week, wind chill.
Oh, I have a jacket.
That's Celsius, by the way, which is minus 20 Fahrenheit.
For when it gets cold, I have this hoodie thing I can put on.
For when it gets cold, the one time a year.
Yeah. There we go.
Well, it looks like it'll protect you from the iguanas falling out of the tree too.
Yeah.
So.
There we go.
Is that a branded jacket too? Wow.
Yeah, it's what our work send it to me. So.
Man.
Oh man, it's fancy.
There we go.
Like we know you don't leave the house, but you need
I'm trying to keep warm for this show.
I'm gonna start sweating. I'm just gonna fit in like from Florida.
This is the Stay Warm show.
TJ, you can probably attest to this, is that people will walk down the street in like these hoodies, like with the hoodie on in like 95-degree weather with 100% humidity.
Oh,
I don't know how they do it.
It amazes me when I go down to Florida and people are wearing like winter coats, like heavy winter coats at like 70 or 80 degrees.
I have family
I'm like, how are you doing that right now? It is hot as heck.
Yep. They're built different. I don't know how they do it. Florida kids.
What I don't understand is, how do the mosquitoes know I'm not from there? Because when I go down there, everybody else doesn't get bitten, but they come right after me. Like, I spend all my time feeding mosquitoes.
It's because they can sense that you don't have any meth in your system, so they're really nice for your blood.
That's
like,
it.
Oh, sweet like maple syrup. This guy's from Canada.
That's why they keep saying like Florida's the armpit of the U.S.
That's not what they call it.
I was trying to be nice. I didn't want to piss off anybody.
PG.
Yeah.
We're live. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. I saw another toot that said something different, but I didn't want to repeat it.
I was kind of offended there. You can't call us an armpit. They don't say anything about us.
More like the butthole.
It's full of crap.
On a good day. All right, you guys ready to hit record?
I've been recording for a while now,
All right. I guess so. All right, let's get started on this thing.
Let's do it.
This is the HomeTech Podcast for February 3rd from Sarasota, Florida. I'm Seth Johnson.
From Lewis Center, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And from Pickering, Ontario, I'm Gavin Campbell. What the? You messed that up.
Hey,
I'm from a new location. I gotta shout out the new location. I'm not in PAL anymore, so
he's traveling. All right. Well, welcome to the HomeTech Podcast about all aspects of home technology, home automation. TJ, you moved business locations, and I guess it's in a different city. So yeah, beautiful new shop. We can see it there on the live stream on the picture.
Nice, big and spacious. And if the audio sounds awful this week, it's literally because it's a giant metal box. So, I'm working on getting some kind of cubicle set up, but until then, the audio might not be the best. So,
yeah, thanks for that, TJ. I really appreciate it. So.
No problem. And we have public Wi-Fi here as well. It's free Wi-Fi. It's included with the unit. It's decent speeds too. I think I was getting like 20 or 30 megabits per second. But no client isolation on the Wi-Fi. So I can literally see everybody's devices. I can print to a bunch of different computers. I think a couple people have Amazon Alexa devices, so I could probably play music all over the place. So I am using my T-Mobile home internet at the moment. And inside this giant metal box, it caps out about 9 megabits per second. So we are blazing fast Wi-Fi over here.
Well, that's awesome, man. That's amazing. So there's no hardwire. That's what you're saying.
Well, so I'm hardwired to the T-Mobile home internet, but it's wireless. So I mean, how good is the hardwire anyway? But no, the new office is great. It's basically a glorified storage unit. It's a 20 by 30 unit, so I got plenty of space for all my shelving and all my stuff. It's amazing when you're packing up to move. You kind of try to sort everything into relevant bins and boxes and stuff like that. But I don't know about you. I have a lot of stuff. And as I was unpacking my stuff, you pull out something and you're like, man, this bin's full of wire. I have more wire. And then you get that one sorted. You put it on the shelving unit. You open another one and you're like, more wire? Where does the wire keep coming from? I don't remember having this much wire. And so, got everything unpacked now. It's kind of sorted, and I'm still kind of breaking down everything and putting it where it's at. The old office, I basically had two, like 5 foot by, I don't know, 6 foot shelving units, and that pretty much took up the whole office. And now I have those two plus a 7 foot tall shelving unit, which is great. And then another longer shelving unit. So I got more space than I need at the moment, but I'm sure it'll fill up just as quickly.
Very nice. Yeah, I've got those boxes of wires, and my daughter's going to inherit those. That's her inheritance.
I have a box of VGA cables alone. I just can't throw them out.
Yeah.
Don't have any monitors that hook up to VGA, but what if you do one day?
And as soon as you throw them away, you're going to need like 12 of them, because that's what happens. Like, I had a bunch of power cables, and I'm like, I haven't used these power cables in 4 years. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of them. And then, like, the very next day, I was like, oh, I really need this power cable that I don't have anymore. That's awesome.
The wife keeps bugging me to throw out stuff I have in the basement. I have it nicely organized, but she's like, you don't need all this stuff, throw it out. So I make it a point whenever I pull something out of there that I haven't touched in a while to show her and go, see, I waited for this day when I needed this VGA to HDMI converter.
She just looks at you like, what are you even talking about? I didn't know this.
Yep. I cherish those days when I actually have something in there I needed.
Yeah. Just for you, though, not for anybody else. Hello.
It's motion activated, so
you gotta wiggle around a little bit more. I thought for sure we were gonna lose you.
I've been curious how long the timeout is, because I see it on the cameras turn off and stuff like that. It looks like it's about a half hour. That's not terrible, I guess.
Now you know.
We gotta get a millimeter wave sensor in there for you.
Just get like a little switch bot, maybe that'll just move up and down next to the light sensor.
Oh, interesting. You're just loving SwitchBot now.
So for those that don't know, the unit that I rent, I'm not allowed to change anything about it. But I have a roll-up door that it's MyQ enabled, but the complex itself has the integration so that they can let people in or change codes, all that good stuff. So I can't just add the MyQ skill to Alexa. And so I took one of the little remotes that I have, and I double-sided taped and siliconed a SwitchBot to it. And so now I can use the SwitchBot app to trigger it, and it opens up the door for me. And that worked great until I ran into the door today. So that's on hold. It wasn't the SwitchBot's fault. It was my fault, but
literally breaking in the new place.
Not even in here a week yet. I'm already breaking things. Part of the course, right?
Yep.
It works.
Well, not anymore, but.
Well, speaking of things working, it sounds like our Mastodon server is still up and going. And Gavin, you have a note in here about finding about the local feed versus the federated feed versus your home feed, your homepage feed. There's all sorts of feeds in Mastodon, turns out.
I had no idea the local feed was even a thing.
I know. I learned something new on Mastodon every day. So, and sometimes this is where a good client helps, So, if you're a regular Mastodon user and you don't know, there's a local feed, a federated feed, and then your feed. That's the home feed, right? So the home feed is basically the feed of everybody you follow. The local feed is everybody that's tooting that's on your server. So for us, it's all the HomeTech.social people. Shameless plug, right? And then there's the federated feed, which is just like, the floodgate. It's from like all other servers just constantly going, that's the one I avoid because you'll end up like scrolling forever on it. No point even being on that, right?
It's the fire hose.
Pretty
literally
much
everything. Yeah.
So when I went into the local feed, I started seeing like toots from all these people that were on our server that I did not follow, and I like to give out free follows to everybody that joins, right? But there was some interesting stuff there, and I'm like, man, this is all the stuff I'm missing out on. So I started dropping follows left, right, and center, just getting everybody in there. And then I started seeing all the bots as well, right? I didn't realize we had a number of bots on there. So after getting updated every hour on the hour by the crypto bot on the latest happening in crypto, we got to start banning some of these. But it's just interesting to see this. I learned something new every day on Mastodon.
Yeah. And there's actually some, as for an admin side, you'll see that there's a couple of things you can do for those bots. You can limit them to you can keep them there, and you can just like limit them to basically only people who follow them. So it's kind of a self-policing thing that you don't have to worry about, the whims of a billionaire.
And for those that don't know, I'm the guy that's pretty much sitting there approving everybody.
He approves everyone. Yeah,
I approve.
He is the billionaire without the money.
I let him in so Seth can knock him out. That's how I think, right? Like, so when you apply, I'm just like approve. Oh, this one looks like a bot. Approved. And then
See,
I
Gavin,
just let it go, right?
If you weren't so afraid of the robots, Gavin, this wouldn't be that big of a problem. You just deny people. I mean, look, I deny people all the time. Somebody comes on there and they're like, I think, what is the question? Like, why do you want to be on this server or something, Seth?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. And somebody writes like, I like technology. And it's like, okay, that's kind of relevant. We'll go with that. And then somebody else is like, I don't like Twitter. And I was like, well, that doesn't seem like a valid reason.
Yeah, that's a valid reason.
But Gavin is the one improving those people.
No, when the bots come, when the robots come for us, when the uprising happens, they're going to be like, well, you did approve us on HomeTech.social, so we'll let you live, right? So
there's a record.
I'm preparing for that day,
Yeah.
But for all the new people that join, the Mastodon, here's a tip. Update your profile pic and add a little description in there. It will help people. You'll get more follows. People will take you more seriously, and the engagement will pick up as well. That's just something nice to do as soon as you get approved and you join.
And you don't have to use your real picture. I think mine's like a goat or something like that, but you just change it.
That's not you.
Nah.
I thought it was you.
That's me in my Halloween costume last year. Get the little twisty horns and everything.
Oh yeah, I see. We have quite a bit of Bitcoin posts.
Ooh. Well, I am looking for my new crypto craze, so maybe one of these people will sucker me into something.
Scroll through our local timeline to see all of the information about Bitcoin and FTX and exchanges that I don't care about.
Exactly. Well, we'll clean that up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm going to report this to you, Gavin, and then you can figure it out.
Seth is going to clean it up, I guess, and then Gavin's just going to sit there. Seth is going to get rid of 5 people. Gavin's going to approve 15. It's going to be a never-ending battle.
That's funny. Yeah. Well, there we go. All right. What do you say we jump into some home tech headlines?
Let's do it.
All right, a couple of things this week. But first up, this is an older story that was from maybe last week, but the server was crashed, so we couldn't find it.
It didn't matter then. Now it does.
Yeah, exactly. Because you know what else matters? The fact that this has matter. TP-Link has introduced its first plug compatible with Matter. The Tapo P125M falls under TP-Link's Tapo line, and it's the new kind of like more or less it's less popular than the Casa product. The Casa product line. So they have the Tapa, they have the Tapo, and the Casa is more popular. There's no real reason why they have these two different ecosystems, but the Matter, I guess, is making its way into the Tapo line here, and this little device is their first. I guess this is the first plug that's Matter compatible. Is it from TP-Link, or is this the first plug completely? I guess this is first.
I mean, honestly, this is the first Matter first device that I've actually seen launched. I think Eve has had a couple devices that you can upgrade, but this is the first one I've seen where you can actually buy it. It's ready, and it does Matter.
$20, so not like it's going to break the bank or anything. That's not bad.
Yeah, it's really small and compact looking. I mean, their illustration looks like you can fit 2 of them on a wall socket, which if you've used smart plugs in the past, that is like a super annoying thing to me, because a lot of times it either takes up both outlets or you can't use 2 of them at the same time. So, I mean, it's a very tiny outlet, and for $20, I don't see how you can go wrong.
Nope. And early reviews have been positive about this. People have added it to their various ecosystems and said it just worked. And that's a good thing. That's the first time I've seen things just work. They were showing it off on the Home Assistant, added to Home Assistant, and I mean, it's a switch. It was there. They turned it on. They turned it off. It was exciting. It worked, right? My only thing was, you don't get all the same attributes, with the device. So there was no attribute, like I like to see when it's the state of it. Is it online? Is it offline? To monitor that type of stuff, or even like firmware status. As of right now, that's not reported into Home Assistant, but they said maybe at a later date. I'm sure they're working on it. We're still in the early days of this.
Somebody will figure it out.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna have to read that because it's too small.
Jimmy in the chat says Miros was the first Matter plug. Tapo is the first from TP-Link, but he's not sure which shipped first. So yeah, I would agree with that because I haven't seen the Miros actually ship, but I also haven't really bought any of these yet. So
we'll just call it a tie. There we go. It's not like Samsung, who said they were first, and now they're just like, oh yeah, we have an app that's going to be Matter compatible.
The power capacity of this thing is pretty crazy too, though. It's for that small little plug. It supports up to 15 amps and 1800 watts.
Wow,
like that's a lot of power for that tiny little plug, because a lot of them usually don't support anything that significant.
No, that's pretty good. All right, for $20, that's really good, actually. So
yeah, these would be great for your Christmas lights or holiday lights or anything like that year round. So good option.
Yep, save you some money. Well, and also speaking of saving you money, yeah, well, this isn't going to save me any money. There goes my savings, right? Frontier has launched the nation's only network-wide 5 gig fiber service. They're claiming it's 125 times faster upload speeds and 5 times faster download speeds and 2.5 times less latency than cable. Okay, thanks, guys. I've been doing Project Fiber for the past I don't know, few months. I think I got the notice in September time last year, and finally got everything installed just here in the middle of January. And I've got my 1 gig service, and now for $154.99, which is basically what I was paying, I can get 5 gig. Thanks, Frontier. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, out of all the ISPs in America, I had no idea Frontier would be leading this. My limited experiences with Frontier was when I worked at a summer camp in New York. The only thing they could offer us was DSL, and it was very subpar DSL. Like it wasn't even what I would consider DSL, and they were such a pain to work with. But they've been putting fiber in everywhere in my area, and it looks like they're pretty much leading our area, at least in fiber internet. They've started sending out notices to everybody saying that you can join on and everything. So I'm sure it's only a matter of time before they cover all of our area. And basically, $150, $155 for 5 gigabits per second? Like, that's nuts.
Yeah, and they're rolling it out. They're rolling it out nationwide. There's no staged. They're just flipping a switch, basically. And if you're in one of these service areas that has fiber, you can get the 5 gig support. I was actually just trying to sign in to see if I could upgrade. No, definitely not going to do that. I thought I did pretty good just by saving.
Just hold off till the 10 gigabits per second.
Well, yeah, because there's a Lancaster City, Lancaster in California. The city of Lancaster is making Race Communications announced that they're going to up their multi-gig service, and it'll be the first city in California with internet speeds up to 10 gigabits per second. And this sounds like one of those local city ISP type things, not Frontier. So get this, their services start at $35 per month for basic broadband plan. Can't say that word. The gigabit service is $70 a month. So that's what I'm paying now, kind of on discount. And then for the 10 gig plan, it's $120 a month.
Oh my God.
Includes equipment and the phone line. That is crazy. So I think I need to move to the city of Lancaster. Yeah, Gavin, take that. We don't need your stinking 8 gigabits per second up there in Canada. We got 10 gigs in one city.
You guys have some good prices too, but how cute! You're still using fiber. Oh, that was so last year. Up in Canada, we've moved on, but you'll catch up one day. Don't worry.
Speaking of ISPs, a little bit off topic, I suppose, but have any of you ever heard of Starry satellite internet?
A Starlink, but not Starry satellite.
So Starry was a satellite internet company, and they launched really big into Columbus, I think 2 years ago, and they just announced that they're getting out of the Columbus market now. So I think there's going to be some change ups happening in the internet space. I've been seeing a lot more smaller companies come out with fiber internet. Maybe that's starting to open up a little bit more, but hopefully that means some competition for all of us, which means faster speeds for lower prices.
That'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah, I mean, I say that now that I'm paying like paying less than half of what I was paying for much better service. You know, I've a gig up, a gig down. Before it was 800, maybe a gig on a good day with Comcast, and then I think 20 up, which was not productive for me. I wanted the faster upload speed. So,
well, and to be honest, if you don't have to deal with Comcast, that's worth it alone. So
yeah, boy, they tried to call me like a million times to get me to.
Oh, I bet. What can we do? We know we've treated you awful for the past like decade, but is there anything we can do now for you?
Yeah, I just tell them every time, like, well, here's the price. If you can beat that, and they would just hang up. There wasn't anything they could do anything about. So
at least you guys have competition. That's something we don't have
fairly
much of here.
Yeah,
like,
we have like maybe one competitor.
Yeah, this is the first time in 6 years I've had the option. Like it's only been Comcast. So
yeah, like my apartment complex, I can get Spectrum, which offers up to a gigabit, or I can get AT&T like DSL, which offers up to 50 megabits per second.
Whoa.
Or I could get like one of the 5G home internet things, but I basically have two options if I want like a hardwire internet option.
Yeah, the other thing is that aside from like the lack of competition and everything, well, heck, I forgot what I was going to say. So on to a new segue here.
At least we'll edit that out, I guess.
Yeah, I can definitely edit out. This is what happens when you get an hour and a half worth of sleep. I'm going to pass right out. Well, all of that good broadband will be good for watching Netflix, because it looks like we're going to be saving money on our broadband. We're going to be paying Netflix for accounts, because no more
Netflix.
Accounts. TJ's already raising his flag. Netflix announced earlier this year that they were going to be cracking down on the password sharing, and now they have released details on how exactly they're going to enforce those mechanisms and then what that means for people who are sharing with their family members. I think there's a couple of us here on this very show here that are probably. I mean, but
the FBI are going to come raid my house.
I know, right? Yeah, we've been doing it for years, and Netflix hasn't cared. Now that they've got us all suckered in to their quality programming, they're going to turn out the heat and alter the deal. And I guess we have to pray that they don't alter it any further. Is the quote? I think that's what it is. Anyway, here's how this is going to work. The new terms say that you basically have to associate on login what a primary location is through a TV. So, and then all the accounts and devices that are connected to that, primary TV, basically have to connect through the same Wi-Fi or network. It's really strange that they use the word Wi-Fi, both in the article and on the Netflix page. It's like, because like I don't have a TV or any device other than my phone's connected to Wi-Fi, so that's kind of weird. But here's what they say: a primary location is set by TV that's signed into your account and is connected to your Wi-Fi network. All other devices signed into your account on that Wi-Fi network will be associated with your primary location and will be able to use Netflix. So after that, people living in the home who want to use Netflix and own it and on their own device have to launch the app at least once every 31 days. So if they don't do that, then they're going to get kicked off or whatever. Maybe I don't know. Maybe there's a way you can log back in. I don't know. That's kind of weird. This is going to be a pain. This is going to be, I'm sure that life will find a way, but yeah, this is going to be a pain for people just like using the service in their own house. Dave P over on our HomeTech.social server said, I just read the article over in TechCrunch about the new Netflix rules. And he says, I have devices on 2 different networks in my house. He's got a LAN and IoT network. Totally makes sense. It's what a lot of people do. They segregate networks out. So he's got devices on both of these networks that log into networks and this Netflix. And he's saying this might be a problem. And maybe if the devices that are the not the primary device, the secondary devices, if they can't see the primary device on the network, does that mean that you're going to get kicked off? Or are they using the WAN IP? And like, will a simple VPN get around this? I guess only time will tell. But I think after all of these years of people kind of like playing with Netflix, I think they have all the edge cases figured out. They know what we're doing. They know how we use the VPNs basically when we're traveling overseas to watch local TV, right? They know what we're doing. There's even like VPN advertisements. Like a large part of their advertisements when they advertise is how you can bypass the regional restrictions on services like Netflix. So very curious to see how this is going to work.
Yeah, for the next month or two, it's going to be a competition between me and my sister to see who can register our home as the primary home first. Right. That's we're gonna log in every day and say mine's the primary home. No, mine's the primary home. Right?
Who's paying for it? It's her.
It's hers, yeah. But I don't care. She's paying for it, but I got the primary home. We're gonna be fighting over this. But you know, and they have that thing where if you're on the road every 7 days, you gotta get approval back from the primary user. You know, right. So that just means family's going to be contacting you more often to get the approvals. You know, you're going to get random calls from the uncles and aunts that used your account. Just say, hey, can you just approve my Netflix so I can watch it? And you know what? You could just say to them, you know, like, skip the small talk. I know what you're calling for. You're approved, you know? And if they don't give you a big enough Christmas present, well, will they get that approval? I don't know. There's going to be something going on here too.
We have someone, I can't read the name, but it says, is it K?
Keyboard
101. Right, keyboard.
It says, I definitely don't share Netflix with my mom, brother, sister, friend, wife, and girlfriend.
Exactly.
Yeah, literally everyone has an account.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, like, I don't see how this is not going to backfire for them, right? Like, even if, like, let's say that some people are like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and just get my own account because that's easier. Like the restrictions of needing to log in every 30 days in order to register and everything, like that is going to be super aggravating for people that have like a guest bedroom or like an office or like a secondary area, or maybe even like a travel like streaming device. Like I know you have one of those, Seth, like a travel Roku or Apple TV or whatever. Yep. Like if you don't pull that thing out for 6 months, like it should still be logged in. But now it's not going to be. It's going to kick you off, and then you're going to have to spend more time to log back into it. It's just going to be a big inconvenience compared to what people are used to. And at the end of the day, like I think this is probably going to do more harm than good. People are probably just going to cancel their subscription because why go through all the effort when you have other streaming services now? You know, 5 or 10 years ago, Netflix was basically the only option, but now you have 30 different other streaming services that you can get all this stuff from. You can't get Netflix originals on there. But you know, it's a streaming service. So you'll stop using it. And then maybe once or twice a year, you'll pick it back up to kind of binge watch everything. And then you'll cancel it again. So
they might be better off if they just charged per minute, you know, of streaming, you know, like 0.01 cents per minute of streaming. And then you can have anybody using that account. Why did I give them the idea?
Yeah, they're probably going to do it now. And the annoying thing too is that like I think it was like 2016 or 2017 that the Netflix CEO came out and was like, yeah, we're all right with password sharing, you know, because usually what happens is somebody shares their password and then those people end up becoming account users. But now they've went back on that, and now they're even more strict about it than a lot of other people are. So it sounds like an awful idea to me. They've obviously calculated it, and I'm sure they're losing millions of dollars or billions of dollars at this point, but it just seems like an awful idea.
Yeah, they're one of the companies that really put a lot into their library. They've got a lot of debt, so they've got to rebalance their books and everything to make the business work. And I am sure that some bean counter was sitting there going, you know, if we just cut this off, we're probably going to lose some accounts, but like what we'll lose will probably be a little bit more based on like how many people are sharing with friends and family. So,
well, and they did it right as Reed Hastings is leaving too. So I think that was well-intentioned that they can kind of soften the blow with that. They get a new CEO in there, and then everything's kind of smooth sailing after that.
Oh yeah, nobody's gonna notice. It's like, they got a new CEO, and oh wait, my Netflix doesn't work. I'm gonna have to call Gavin and find out.
Well, they just blame it on the old CEO. It's like,
Yeah.
it was Reed Hastings' fault. This new CEO, he didn't do it though.
He did it on the way out the door. Yeah. I don't think that. I mean, because the new CEO is actually like they were dual
co-CEOs,
co-CEOs. Yeah. So I think this is probably just, and we know it's been in the works for a while. They've been talking about this for a while. Here it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now we know the details, and it'll be interesting to see, who wins the war over at Gavin's house and in his neighborhood. And then I don't know. It'll be interesting here too, because we definitely don't share it with my sister-in-law, and they definitely haven't had an account on there for like, I don't know, years and years and years. So I guess all that's may come to an end, and I'm curious to see. I'm sure, like I said, I'm sure they'll lose a lot of people, but I think for us, we'll probably keep this service, but it's gonna be less useful for us, especially if secondary devices stop dropping offline. We'll probably just like do one of those things where we turn the service on when we need it, binge watch or whatever for a little while, and then turn it back off. Seems to be the way things are heading. All right, moving on here. We talked about this a little bit before the show, and is it a video? I guess, yeah, it's a video about why we all need subtitles now, and I guess that's a thing, right? Like, we started watching subtitles a while back because we couldn't understand some of the dialogue. It's not like we were getting like old and losing hearing or anything. It's just like the dialogue wasn't coming through, and I can blame a lot of that maybe on a bad surround setup or something like that. But turns out a lot of people are just watching TV with subtitles on now, and there's a bunch of reasons why, like a bunch of really good reasons why. And this little video from Vox kind of goes over a number of them. They talk to an audio editor who I have seen on TikTok. She does a really good job explaining some of the fine ideas like in the audio editing world and how production works, which is, it's always fun to watch and see, because that would have been another career path of mine had I gone down that route. And it's fun to kind of keep up and see what they're doing over there. But yeah, we were talking about the show. It sounds like, I think everybody here, like, I'm pretty sure you guys said you're watching with subtitles as well.
Yes, we pretty much always watch stuff with subtitles. I think it's mainly the wife that likes to have the subtitles on. I could go either way. But pretty much everything we watch nowadays has subtitles on, and it does make a big difference. The only thing I don't like about subtitles is that kind of ruins the plot sometimes, because you can read what's about to happen before it happens.
Like in a comedy or something.
Yeah. So like, I'm not a big fan of it for that reason, but they're always on at our house.
Yep. Gavin, what about you? Do we have
here.
Wow, we have a three-peat.
Same here. I thought I was the only one that would turn on subtitles sometimes, because like in the video you see him actually watching a show, rewinding it and constantly replaying it, and he still can't understand what the guy was saying. And I've been there where it's like, what do you say? And you rewind it, you're like, what do you say? And you rewind it, you still can't figure it out. So yeah, we use subtitles quite a bit. Not only because I watch a lot of foreign films, but like sometimes people they mumble, or the audio is mixed weirdly on my setup, so it's really weird. The cool thing is it on Apple TV where you can actually say to Siri, what did they say, and it will actually jump back 15 seconds and turns on subtitles. Yep. And then plays it. So that's actually a really cool feature, because you say, what did they say? It'll jump back, turn on the subtitles so you can really hear what they said, and then continue on as normal. So that now we see why that feature was invented.
Yeah, I thought I knew some of the reasons. One of the reasons I thought were the more like advanced surround fields that have been coming out, and I kind of have just basically a 3.1 system, soundbar and a subwoofer. But it turns out what you were talking about there, he's kind of going over one of the more famous actors, and the guy just is notorious mumbler. Like, he just mumbles.
Yeah.
And the way that they record on set dialogue has changed. I mean, even in the probably decade or two that I've been away from it, like, back then they really tried to capture on-set dialogue and do as little as ADR as possible. now I'm sure with budgets the way they are and technology the way it is, like they're just absolutely trying to catch every little bit of data and just force the audio editor to do their best to make good audio out of what was captured on set. And if you have the actors, I mean, this is definitely something that I have seen in just human nature. When you have something that's kind of easy, you just kind of ignore it. Back in the day, actors they would face the microphones, they would present to the microphones, they would yell, their voices would be louder so that dialogue would get captured correctly. And in doing that, and a lot of them came from like stage and that kind of thing, in doing that, they're projecting their voices, they're enunciating properly. Everything gets done correctly. And that was kind of like a big light bulb that went off in my head. It's like, oh yeah, the actors are probably, they don't have to deal with this anymore. They can just focus on their craft and their acting. They don't have to worry about the technical details, at least this one little technical details, not hitting their mark and stuff like that. But like, they don't have to worry about audio because some poor
somebody else's problem.
Yeah, exactly. Some poor schmuck in the editor's booth is going to have to deal with this later. So,
and sometimes I watch shows where the accent's just so thick. Like, I watch an English show called Top Boy, and their accent is so thick that I have
you and your TV shows, just watching all kinds of terrible TV shows.
It's a good show. It's a good show.
Toe sucking, Top Boy. I mean, what are you doing over there?
Toe sucking. Yeah.
Wow. I hope you edit this part of the show out.
Oh, it's staying.
Gavin, go ahead and say
it's
Tulsa
King. It's Tulsa King. It's Sylvester Stallone, like Tulsa King.
Toe sucking, yeah.
Yeah. Whatever makes you feel better.
Anyways, I watch an English show called Top Boy, and it's a gangster show. Like, geez,
it sounds like it.
Yeah, but anyways, their accent's so thick that I have to turn on subtitles because they're just like an English accent I have problems understanding.
Well, and am I correct in assuming that none of us are using like the built-in TV speakers either? Like, do all of us have like a sound bar or some kind of audio system? You're using Sonos. Gavin, what about you, Seth? You're using Sonos as well?
Sonos, and then even in the garage, we'll use the AirPods, which at the same time we're turning on the.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. Like it seems like anytime we turn the TV on at night as well. So there's also a little kid sleeping. So there's the matter of like us not being able to like just crank up a surround sound and watch it like we did when we were in our 20s. Like now we'll just be more conservative with it. We'll be using like second screens and all that good stuff and kind of like glance up and read what's going on rather than have to catch all of it. So it is in some cases a different viewing experience, but that's led to watching complete movies with the subtitles on now, which I have never wanted to ever do, but I catch it's just they're on and we just leave them on and it's just kind of normal now. But I definitely like movies for being movies, not for having subtitles on them.
Well, see, if Sonos comes out with these headphones we've been talking about forever, maybe we don't have to worry about subtitles anymore. We'll actually be able to hear things.
Okay.
Probably not.
Sonos, what are they called? Hearing aids, I guess.
Yeah, there you go. Whisper in my ear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't know. I thought this the whole discussion. It's about a 10-minute video by Vox, covers a lot of these points in depth, and it's worth watching just to kind of like understand, I guess, why this is all of a sudden seems to be a phenomenon. I thought it had to do with more of the advanced surround modes and like audio editors having like a bigger playground. Like I could easily see an audio editor like, I'm focused on Atmos, forget the stereo down mix, and then here I am like with a 3.1 system going, what'd they say? But no, it's a little bit of that, a little bit of technology, microphones, and the way just the entire chain and industry works these days. We get mumblers. So there you go.
Dang technology not improving things. It's supposed to improve things, not make them worse.
Top Boy. I can't believe he said that.
It's a good show. Jeez. I can't believe you guys laughed at that.
Does your wife know you watch that?
She watches Welcome to Chippendale, so I mean,
wow, you guys got a lot of stuff going on over there.
The one thing that so I'm from Texas, and I have no problem understanding most Southern accents. But we were watching a movie with Matthew McConaughey in it, I think, and it wasn't him. Like, he does have an accent, but it was like, I think it took place in Mississippi. I think the movie was called Mud or something like that. Decent movie, but very, very, very thick Southern Mississippi accents in there, and little kids with it too, and they were saying things. I'm like following along, and my wife is like, we have to stop. What are they saying? Like they're it's not a language, is it? I'm like, it's English. What are you talking about? Like, I understand every bit of it, but she just completely disconnected and couldn't understand what they were saying. So it goes both ways from Mud and to Top Boys, I guess.
I hate you.
You do it to yourself, Gavin.
Oh, man.
It's amazing you haven't learned by now.
Well, all the links and topics we discussed tonight can be found in our show notes over at HomeTech.fm/422. So nothing in the mailbags this week. But we do have a pick of the week that we were going over and we started talking about before the show and had such a great discussion. I was like, well, this is the pick of the week this week. And it is something I ran across over our own Mastodon, I guess, but it wasn't our server, it was somebody else's, but it was a rare photo of a remote control from the 1970s. And it's got this little chubby kid standing there staring back at his parents, holding the knob and just ready to turn it to whatever channel they say turn it to. He's like, is this the right one? Is this the right one? Turn up the volume. This is great. Gavin said, this was me. Did they have a picture of me?
This was me. This picture brought back a lot of memories. You guys may be too young for this, but growing up, I had 3 jobs when it came to the TV. I was the antenna adjuster. Sometimes I was the holder as well, because you'd have to adjust it. And as soon as you let go of it, it went bad signal. So you had to touch it and you had to stand there for the whole program to keep that signal going, right? So I got stuck with that job. And then sometimes I was the channel. I was always the channel changer. And that's one of the main reasons I learned to count to 13. Right, was because I had to know what channel to change it through, and we never had a channel 1. I don't think. I think it was always it was 2. Yeah. So I always started my numbers at 2 for a while, and then they had to teach me 1, right? And then my third job was always the TV slapper. So every now and then the signal went weird or the TV was doing something weird, but you slap the side of it and it kicked back in. I don't know why that worked, but it worked, and that was my job as well. So this picture brought back a lot of those painful memories. These are just things my parents made me do. And, like, it doesn't matter if you did it 2, 3, 4 times, you'll never forget it.
Yeah. I had a similar, I guess, setup. We had cable at our house, by the time this came around, and we had the dual, I guess it was our cable company had basically fed in through UHF. So this is going way back. So the VHF frequencies channel numbers were 2 through 13, I guess, and then 14 through something like 37 or 40 or something like that, UHF. And we basically had this box that sat on top of every TV. The cable line ran into that, and then of course the cable line went back out for channel 2 or channel 3, but you would just basically turn and click the dial to whatever channel you wanted to watch. And if you landed on channel 36 or whatever, way up there on the UHF signal, and that was the Disney Channel, they would have like a notch filter outside your house. It's a silver barrel, like plugged into your cable line, notch filtering that particular frequency out. So it just kind of came in all blurry or whatever, and you can go out and take it off, and then you'd have the Disney Channel until they caught you, I guess. But that's how you get the premium channels, HBOs and all that good stuff back in the day. A lot of fun talking about this stuff before we got on.
We quickly found out everybody's age, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if any of us knew how old the others were in this scenario.
I didn't realize TJ
like
was
that.
so young.
But both of you were talking about like manually adjusting stuff and going out and messing with filters and stuff like that. And like growing up, we had satellite TVs, so I had none of these issues. So, I don't. I was born in 91, and so I guess by the time I was actually using TV and stuff like that, like none of this was a concern for me.
Yeah, you would have had like LNBs on a Dish Network or a DirecTV dish. Like you didn't even have to deal with. Yeah, DirecTV. Yeah, you didn't have to deal with
DirecTV for TV and DSL for internet. That was the sweet life.
You didn't even have dial-up? You didn't have to deal with dial-up?
Oh man.
Well, so I didn't have to do a dial-up at my house because we were in the city. But anytime I would go to my friend's house, because I went to school kind of in the country, and so the majority of the people that I went to school with had dial-up. So like I had to deal with it, but it was not a concern for my main house.
So you've never had to yell for your mom to hang up the phone because your BBS connection's cutting off?
No, but I've been at a friend's house where I'm playing RuneScape and somebody calls in and we get the connection dropped. And you're in the wilderness, you're trying to fight somebody, you get cut off and then you die. So I know the struggle a little bit. I just didn't live with it the whole time.
Star 70, got to dial that. At least in the States. I don't know what it was in Canada, but
it's something like that. I programmed it into the auto dialer to disable the call waiting and stuff.
Call waiting, yeah. Yep, phone line's always busy. Sorry, we ended up getting a second phone line because of me, but yep, all good stuff.
Old.
Yeah,
it happens.
It was a good trip down memory lane and kind of going over all, like we were talking about the cable boxes, and I posted one. It was like the digital version of the one with the clicks on it, but it has basically channel up, channel down, and a couple of other buttons on it, I guess, but. The main ones are channel up, channel down, and inevitably the channel up would break or something, so you only had channel down or channel up one of the ways. And like if you miss channel 15 and you're on channel 16, you got to go all the way back around. So get to clicking. Yeah.
And I had the big brown box with the wire that went all the way to the TV, and you had 13 buttons on it and like a knob that had 3 settings. And we found out if you held down 2 of the buttons, you get like, it was picture on picture, I would call it, I guess, because it would just take both pictures and overlay them so you could watch 2 channels at once, right? But those were the painful days.
Yeah, that's funny. That's the early 3D technology, I guess they had in Canada there. So.
Well, I'm glad you guys had to struggle so I wouldn't. So thank you for that.
We did our best. So we'll put a link to that in the show notes because it's quite funny. And then I guess maybe we'll link out some of our cable box finds.
Yeah, you should definitely link those. I mean, I've never seen a lot of those things, so maybe somebody else hasn't seen them too.
It's like, what is this? Is this a rotary phone?
Like getting up to change the TV? That sounds awful.
You had to get up to turn it off. Like, and that was the end of the night. When mom or dad get up there and reach to the top of the TV and turn off the TV, like there was no going back. It wasn't coming back on. Like that was it. It had one button and it was a click button. It clicked out and back in. And that was it.
Jimmy in the chat said, "Today I learned Seth is old as fuck."
So he thinks
Gavin's even older.
Wait,
though,
no. Seth is the oldest one. Let's just leave it at that.
I guess so. I don't know. Anyway, I had old technology for sure at my house, but we
need to get some of those for the museum for you.
Yeah. No, I don't think so. Oh man, if you have any feedback, questions, comments, picks of the weeks, or great ideas for the show, give us a shout. Our email address is feedback@HomeTech.fm, or you can visit HomeTech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right, project updates. I guess, Gavin, you've got a project update for the Home Assistant, which is continuously updating itself and being a project. What's going on?
Yeah, Home Assistant is always being updated, but my tip is to keep with the updates because it's easier to do the incremental updates than do a large update with a lot of breaking changes. So I like to keep up to date with that. But today, a couple days ago, if you're listening to this now, they released the official 2023.2 update. And it was a pretty big release. You can read the release notes in their blog, but they announced, the new assist, which is the first step to their voice. So you can actually interact with your home now via like text messaging. There's some hacky ways to use some voice to do it and stuff like that, but it's actually pretty cool. But it's the first step in that whole year of voice thing. They have little updates like history cards are live updating, new group sensors, a bunch of ESP home stuff. If you have real link cameras, there's some big updates in that because they now get all the sensors from the camera, such as motion, person detection, vehicle detection, etc. And then some big matter updates. Something like they re-enabled the multi-pan feature. That now allows you to run Zigbee and Thread using the single radio on the Home Assistant Yellow or the Sky Connect. So they had to disable that, I guess, in the past because there were some issues with it, but they re-enabled it so you can play with that a little bit. So it was quite a big update. I did update my my home because I'm a glutton for punishment. While they were talking about it, I updated it, and it's been running pretty well up until this recording. So I don't know when you're listening to this recording, check on Mastodon and see if I'm complaining yet. Right? That's all I have to say, because if something goes wrong, you'll probably see me complaining on Mastodon while you're listening to this. But it's been pretty cool. They showed off a new tool they're releasing called this. I don't know what the official name of it was, but it was labeled the Sky Connect Flasher. So basically, it was a firmware update tool for their Sky Connect tool. But they said they were going to expand it so you can update firmware on like the USB sticks for everything. So it's like a really easy to use tool. It's like, yep, there's a new firmware update, done, right? And I thought that was actually pretty cool because it makes it so much easier. And the easier they make it, the more other people will, jump on Home Assistant. So a lot of cool things.
I just loaded mine, or I just went to the VM and hit go on it, and it says an error, of course, and then it says, but I don't think this is definitely not Home Assistant's fault. We think we have found the issue with my server, and we've tracked it down to this bad memory stick from Crucial.
We think.
Yeah, it definitely failed the memory test thing. Hard failed it. So I have another one coming, whenever it comes in. But the server's been running fine since that's been swapped out. But this says image is corrupt, cannot be opened, read, or write. So I guess my Home Assistant days are done.
Sometimes I just want to take technology away from you, Seth. I don't know.
Yeah, you're for somebody that works with technology, you tend to break it a lot.
Exactly.
I don't know. I didn't even get to play with it that much, but I did get my little whirly birds thing. Where is this thing? Here it is.
Whirly bird.
Yeah, it's kind of what it is. It's like a little what do they call this thing? I dropped it.
Almost broke it.
Yeah, it's the inside of the flow meter. It's kind of like little turbine, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got that. Hopefully I'll be able to go out and swap that out this week and get my water meter, I guess, detector thing up and going again. Right now it just says I use 0 gallons per day, which I know is not correct.
No, that's impressive.
Yeah. This is pretty good. Whenever it gets hooked back up, it's going to freak out, but
very green over there.
Yeah. So hopefully I'll get that up and going. I did. TJ, you were talking about how you finished off a theater last week. I went to help install a theater this week, and somebody called me up and said, "Hey, I've got a new I got a new projector, got a new screen. Want to swap it out? Can you come do that?" I'm like, "Yeah, let's have some fun." So I get there, and it's a rear projection, but he's kind of tall, and it's a very low ceiling. It's kind of like in a Florida basement, which if you're in Florida, that means it's the part under the house where you're not supposed to technically build anything. But people who have these homes build stuff under the houses all the time. So it's low ceilings, and there's a projector there, and he's tall. And so he hits his head into it, and he's like, "I want the front projector, what do they call them? The ultra wide, ultra short throw projector. It's like an Epson. You can set it 2 inches away from the wall, and it can do a 110-inch screen. It's kind of crazy." It's like, all right. So he's got that. He's got the screen. I put the screen all together. He's like, "I want the screen to be here." I put it there. And then I go like, "Well, before we get the projector out, have you looked at the instructions?" And there was just a, blank stare. I'm like, "Let's take a look and see where, our cabinet is going to have to sit and all that stuff." And basically figured out the projector wasn't going to work. But at the end of the day, really what he just needed was an upgrade on the screen. And we were able to, the screen is actually kind of cool for the, like ultra short throw. There's a specialized screen where it's kind of like got a metallic sheen to it, I guess, and it will reject the ambient light, but the light coming up from the bottom of it gets amplified. So it actually works really well. And I was looking at it. It didn't quite look right with the regular projector on it. So we just took it off the wall, flipped it upside down, and it looks beautiful. It's exactly what he needed. So he's got to keep his old projector, return the other one. And that was that. I didn't really have to do anything for the theater. That's all we did. I just put that in, put some speakers in, new speakers. Love the Sonant speakers. I'm going to put I showed you guys a video. I'm going to have to put a video up somewhere of how those get installed. If you've never seen how
Mastodon.
Yeah, well, I'll put it there. I'll put it I'll put it in the hub, for sure. If anybody hasn't seen how the Sonance Mariner speakers install, man, it's just a treat. Like absolute, it's one of my favorite out exterior, like on wall speakers to install, because you just put the bracket up, slide the speaker to the bracket, poke the wires through the back of the speaker, strip them, hook them up, and then it has a little cover that goes over that, and then it has the grill that goes over that. So like everything is protected from the elements. The little binding posts don't get corroded or anything very easily, and it's just all around. It's it's a decent sounding speaker, and I don't know. It's all plastic, plastic parts that are well built plastic parts that don't corrode or rust and go away over time. So absolutely love those things. I can't recommend them more if you're ever in the outdoor speaker market.
The only thing I don't like about those ones, I've installed a lot of them, and I don't like that the speaker grill has to slot into the speaker. I wish they just kind of came up with some kind of magnet grill for it.
It's old school in that respect. Yeah.
I don't know about you, but like I installed 4 of them the other day, and I struggled to put the grills in on all of them, because unless you like line it up exactly how it needs to go, you get like 3/4 of it in there, and then it's like the last 1/4 is like sticking out, and you kind of like gotta like bend it in, and it's just obnoxious. But other than that, they sound great. I like the mounting mechanism because you can just slide it on there. It is very nice. Yeah.
Yeah, those grills that they have designed on there are like the magnet thing is kind of a newer thought technology, right? Like that's only come into play, I would say, within the last decade or so, where we started seeing them on some of the higher end speakers, where you would cut in the speaker and then just like slap up the grill, and it would just be sucked on with these rare earth magnets. I'm like, oh, that's beautiful, because it may have been a pain to do it on a surface mount speaker like that, but for an in-ceiling speaker, after you've cut the stupid thing in, you're covered in just mess and drywall and attic dust, and like inevitably the installer would take his hands and just like there'd be handprints up all over the ceiling where he's been trying to mash that grill into place and pressure fit it in. So like the magnets have been great in that respect. So good. I don't think they've redesigned those Mariner speakers in forevers. Like
maybe they don't because they're like outdoor or something. Yeah. They don't want them to like fall off on people or something. I don't know, but that's my only complaint about them.
Yeah, valid. Yeah. Pretty good, but still a good speaker. Can't complain.
Yeah. Well, I've got a speaker rant myself. So I finished this beautiful home theater in Lewis Center here. And for the first time ever, I used some Triad in-wall and in-ceiling speakers. And, the build quality of them is really nice. They're all enclosed cabinets. And they feel like a very nice, hefty speaker. Getting them installed, though, I don't know if it's just because it was my first set. I did 7 of them. But basically, like a normal speaker that you install in the wall or in the ceiling, you turn the screw mechanism and it brings that little foot out. And then as you tighten down the screw, it brings that foot closer to the ceiling. And then that eventually is what locks it to the ceiling or the wall, right? These ones, though, they don't do that. They basically just have a little slide mechanism, and you slide the little finger thing, and that's what holds it to the drywall. And then you put this metal frame on top of it, and that's what actually tightens everything down together. And so when I'm doing the in-wall ones, it wasn't that big a deal, right? Because like if you cut the hole for the speaker and you put it in there, like gravity is not going to make it fall out because you have the hole holding it, right? But when you're doing the in-ceiling one, there's nothing there to hold it until you actually get those little fingers shoved behind the drywall. And my mistake was that I put the little metal frame on too tight. And so there wasn't enough clearance for the actual finger mechanisms to slide behind the drywall. And so what I ended up having to do is just take off the metal frame, put the speaker up in the hole, slide the little finger things over, and then tighten the screw down, and then put the magnet frame or the metal frame on top of that as well. So like it just seems like a very cumbersome process. Like I thought speakers were pretty much figured out by this point, but it's just such a pain in the butt to do those. And it might just be because it's my first set. But it's just I don't that was like the most infuriating thing ever, because I had to have somebody else help me like hold the speaker. Like, here, you hold the speaker up, I'll slide the little finger things and tighten it down. And then you still have to hold it because there's actually nothing holding it. Like, it's just, it could fall out at any minute if it moves wrong or something like that. So it was just a very infuriating experience, but I think it was mainly my negligence as well. So I just want to call that out.
As far as the old school pressure, install of it, the what's it called, the grill over the speaker. This is probably even older, where you had a metal frame that you have to install and then install a speaker inside of it. I think it's probably an older style install, but wow, yeah, that is a pain.
Yeah, I've never even seen it before, to be honest. And I've only been doing, relevant work like this for the past, I think, like 10 years now.
Yeah.
But everything I've ever dealt with has been the little, the little finger things, or not the little finger things, the little
catches.
Yeah, the little feet thing that come out and catches. And, those are great. They kind of suck when you go to remove them, because you never know, like, how much force you have to, put on the untightening of it in order to remove it.
Mm-hmm.
But at least you kind of have an idea, like when you're tightening it, you're like, okay, well, this is tight now, like we're good. With these ones, though, it just seems like a very terrible design, especially for how much you pay for them.
Yeah,
they're not cheap speakers.
Well, and there's been a lot of like advances in how in ceiling speakers get installed, especially in the last 10 or 20 years, because of like they were just popular. They were so popular with the home building and everything, but everybody was trying to get them faster and easier for installers, and that's where the magnetic grills came from, which, I mean, they're metal grills, but they have magnets that are in the frames of the speakers now that like will pull the grill up and keep it on the ceiling. And then like there's some like I think Dyne Audio even has like this, like those little finger latches that you're calling. Like, I forget what they did, but I ran across those. They were pretty unique in how they installed, but it was basically like a one-handed operation to get this to get it up to like install the speaker in the hole in the ceiling and get it to where you didn't have to worry it falling on your head. So totally understand in this situation where you have these tiny little frame screws and you're like, if I drop one or two of these, then I'm starting this whole process all over again.
Well, and it's annoying too, because like supposedly it's a handmade product, or they build them to order or something like that. But it's even more annoying because like some of the holes didn't line up. So like you're up there and you're holding it up there and everything, but you can't even put the screwdriver in there because the hole doesn't line up properly. So then you have to get a smaller screwdriver and kind of like half strip out the screw. The best ones that I've used recently are, I don't know if anybody else does it, but the ones I've used are from Rust Sound, and they have, I think, what they call a swift lock mechanism. And so basically it's the same, little foot mechanism that comes out. But basically what happens is you put it in the wall or the ceiling, and then you push a button and the little foot mechanism comes out and automatically goes in place. And then whenever you go to remove it, you basically just take a Phillips head and you twist it, counterclockwise, maybe like a quarter of a turn, and then actually puts the foot back. And that was the easiest thing I've ever used in my life. Like if they switched everything to that, I would be happy.
That sounds like what I remember seeing Dyne Audio using on their, maybe it wasn't Dyne Audio, but I swear I remember seeing them do those kind of like push a button and all the things just latch over. And
genius.
Springs. Who would have thought? Gavin's like, yeah, you guys are talking about some crazy stuff here.
And they're cheap speakers too. Like like the Rust Sound ones, I think, are like $100 or $200 for a set, and then you buy the ones that are like way nicer, and it's like they're way more complicated to install. I don't get it.
Oh no! All right, so I'm gonna send you a picture. I'm gonna send in the back channel like how these installed. They're even more different than that. They have the crazy install. It's like a frame. You cut in the frame and then you slide and just basically turn the speaker into that frame, but it's not like what you're thinking. Like it's way easier.
Yeah. I've seen that before. I've never used that, but that looks
a massive frame. I mean,
yeah, that is pretty big.
Yeah. Right.
Speakers. Who would have thought?
Yeah, lots of speaker complaining tonight in our project section.
Gosh.
Well, I like the speakers that I put in. Yeah, they were
mine are good now that they're in. So
yeah, they don't ever have to come back down. That's the thing. You don't have to go back down. I didn't even think about like having to take that stupid speaker down. If I'm not going to be the one that does it. So
yeah,
what do I
not
care?
your problem.
Yeah, exactly. Not my problem. Somebody else is going to have to figure out how to get that grill pulled out with a little.
Yeah, and that's like whenever somebody pulls that out, 100% they're going to bend it, and it's not going to go back in correctly.
Yeah, exactly. You better get some paint because whatever scratch they put on there is instantly going to turn into rust in Florida. Like it's just as soon as you scratch something, it's rusted. So, yep. Well, is that it for everybody?
That's it.
I guess so.
That's pretty much it.
All right. Well, let's move on here. We want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about our Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out on the show here. But every pledge gets an invite to our private Slack chat, The Hub, where you and other supporters of the show can gather every day in there and ask questions, talk about things. There's been some pretty good discussions. What were we talking about today earlier? It wasn't Home Assistant. I know that.
It was TVs hanging upside down above chairs.
Yes, like a dentist. A dentist office with a TV hanging over it and where you can get mounts for that kind of thing. That was fun. I've seen that too, but I have no idea how they did it. I think that here in Florida, they just rope or something.
My dentist has those, and I always think they're going to kill me. So, It's like, that could fall at any moment and smash my head in while I'm getting my teeth clean. That's cool.
Yeah, I know.
The TVs are light.
I know the guy who put that in. I do not trust it.
I saw him leave.
Yeah, exactly. If you want to help with the show but can't support financially, totally understand. Just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or positive rating in the podcast app of your choice. That wraps up another week in Home Tech News here. Everybody, have a great weekend.
Take care.
Goodbye.
That was a weird.
That's on one of the. That's on the list.
Yeah, well, it just sounded weird. It's one word, not two.
I changed it to the last second, so I was going to say something else.
It's out. Just say it now. Go ahead. Go.
No.
I'm just going to put that in.
No.
There you go. Yeah, that would be the first. Take care. No.
Yeah.
Don't take care.
I'm shocked Jimmy thinks I'm so old here. Jeez.
I'm shocked.
I was gonna say Gavin's definitely the oldest one.
Gavin's Grandpa Gavin over here.
Yep. Yep. I didn't realize that.
When you were growing up, Gavin, did you guys have color? I always thought everything was black and white because that's what TV shows were in. So
my family was all colored. And we had black and white, but
you just made my ending of the show really easy to edit.
I don't think we can put that at the end of the show.
I don't know. Yeah, this is a live show special. Live show special.
I think Gavin said that. Nobody else.
Yeah.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Woo!
Well, you guys were laughing at my